The biggest insult, and people need to understand this, the reason why South Africa was put into BRICS is because they need South Africa. We have uranium. Uranium powers fuel, so nuclear. It's the fuel for nuclear, right? We're in the top 10 of the largest producers of uranium in the world. Our uranium deposits, I believe, we're definitely number one, but scientists are saying, hey, top 10, other countries also have it, you know, and many of them, they lie about minerals because they're trying to get Africa to lessen the price. People don't know this. When you read state security documents, there are countries that have lied about minerals just so Africa can become a bit calm. Because if we knew that we're the only ones who have it, we'll be stronger. But we'll get to that. If we've got the fuel for nuclear and we continue shipping it to other countries, why aren't we building our own nuclear power stations? Is it because we don't have enough funds? Okay, why are you giving us 160 billion to build windmills instead of nuclear? Why was Jacob Zuma shut down when he spoke about nuclear? And many others agreed. CSIR agreed. And they said nuclear is the way. Why is it that everybody who's now close or friends with the one who's ruling is now building an independent power station? And remember, South Africans won't question this because we're under pressure. We're under pressure. Load shedding has taken away jobs. Load shedding has frustrated. There is no South African that is not at breaking point. So if anybody tells you we are building solar to try and help, you listen. In fact, you'll be grateful. But the truth is that was never the right choice. It was a choice that was carved for us to make sure that we never become the giant that we need to become. Because when you ask Arise and say, Mpo, what are the policies? I immediately tell you, fourth industrial revolution. We're building manufacturing hubs. We're building medical devices. We're building moving cars. I immediately go to manufacturing. And immediately they'll say, let's tame him. Yes, it's possible through 3D printing. Yes, your blockchain can work. Everything you said is right. Where will you get the electricity? Because where there's no nuclear, these things become very difficult to do. Nuclear is the bedrock of the fourth industrial revolution. They saw it coming to say, there's a generation of young people that are into tech that understand how things work. These young people might give us issues in the future. Kill them quick and use electricity to do so. Because not that I have issues with all these things. The issue for me, the biggest issue is in the future. Yes, solar panels and everything will give us electricity for what? 5 years? Yeah, we'll come out of load shedding for 5 years. But after that 5 years, we are back to square one, even worse. What could have given us enough energy to build a strong nation? Where everywhere around the world, they say, if you want to build something, in Africa, they have electricity, they have the minerals. Literally, it's in the ground. Whatever you want to build, just go and dig, it's there in the ground. So that becomes one of the biggest frustrations that I've ever seen in our country. And the reason why I said to you that two things would happen to me. One, they'd kill me, or they'd put me to jail. Because when you look at what the Zondo Commission said, and I don't want to get too much into it, we spent 1 billion researching or understanding or uncovering how corruption happened in our country. Essentially, we spent 1 billion rand to find out how 1.5 trillion over 5 years was looted through corruption in our country. Now, the Zondo Commission came out with 8 million pages. I believe I've read more than anybody in this country on the Zondo Commission. I know that many people who talk about it, they haven't even read. There are things in the Zondo Commission, by the way, that when you read, you're like, this is a movie. A woman is brought in from China. She comes, she takes money from the Reserve Bank. She flies out. She's caught in between. There are things that you read and you're like, is this the same South Africa that I'm living in? There are documents there about how politicians funded the Chinese railway using money they stole from Africa in the Zondo Commission. And I said to somebody, I said, the biggest issue we've got is you create an 8 million page document. Now, I'm an author. a best-selling author. So for me, reading, I must read. Every week
Let them
I'm
know,
reading.
boy. Let them know. Best-selling author.
Every week I have to read, right? And I've got publishing houses saying, when you releasing your next book? Because I've understood that reading for me is a precious skill that you must do. And I think for South Africans, reading is supposed to be a very big thing. Because if you come from a, I always tell people that while growing up, I used to read the Bible cover to cover. You ask me about the Bible, it's in my mind. The Bible is not the most funnest thing to read.
I've read it as well. When you were speaking about the Zondo Commission, I was thinking, when I read it, I was also like, have Christians actually read this thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's not the funnest thing to read. But when you begin, and I haven't just read, I've had to read it to the point of meditating and understanding it completely. So when you understand that culture of reading, a nation can be helped. But we'll get there. I don't want to digress from the Zondo Commission. Now, the issue is 8 million pages. Which young person is going to read it if the literacy rate in our country has been going down? So do you see that there's a strategic evil attack upon our nation to say, dumb them down, that even if Zondo is saying certain things in the commission, none of them will listen. You go to a young person and you say, what happened in the Zondo Commission? They'll tell you Gupta. That's the least of it. That's the least of it. This was worse. There were things there that were worse. And I want to talk about some of them. But before I talk about that, what the Zondo Commission said, the solution that they brought with, and which I agree, they said South Africa must pay whistleblowers. You see what I'm doing now? Coming in, I'm speaking to young people. I'm telling them what happened. I'm revealing secrets. There are people that would kill me. Right? Maybe it might be a bit difficult to kill me because young people have now noticed me. Young people are now following me. People know me. I've got people that are saying, we're backing you, we're with you. I've got people that are saying, listen, we're praying for this thing. God has spoken to us too about Arise. We're backing you, we're with you. So I've got a force behind me. But think about a young lady who's a receptionist at the Department of Health in Gauteng. Or let's make it a practical example. There was a lady known as Babita who was a financial officer in Gauteng Department of Health. She came out and she spoke and she revealed a couple of billion that were actually stolen or looted in Tembisa Hospital. And what happened to her is when she was coming back home, gunmen came, she was opening up a gate, shot 6 bullets, gone. Her family today is still traumatized. The whole Department of Health is saying, we cannot touch that case because the last person who spoke was killed. And what the Zondo Commission said, they said, for us to fix the rot in our government, we must protect